Okay. Cool. Let's try this again. The Pythagoras theorem. The Pythagoras theorem is a theorem that works only in right-angled triangles. Okay, it's only in right-angled triangles, and it works. It's sort of all based on the relationship of the three sides of the triangle. So if we have two, we can always find the third side of a triangle. That's the idea of Pythagoras. So Pythagoras just means that if we have two sides of the triangle, we can always find the third if it is a right-angled triangle. Okay. Now, when we talk about the theorem, we use very specific words. And so we need to make sure we know those words. My first question to everyone is, what does this little square mean? What does that little square mean? 90 degrees, good. Okay, it means it's a right angle, which means it is 90 degrees. Solid, perfect. Okay. Using the knowledge that you now have after doing similarity and congruency with me, what is that pink line that I have just highlighted? The hypotenuse, excellent. With the question that just came in the chat, no, we're not going to do sine, cos, and tan. That's trigonometry. Trigonometry only comes in grade 10. Okay. So that's our hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the longest side of a right angle triangle, and it's always the side that is opposite. Do you see how it's opposite? On 90 degrees. Okay, it's always that side. All right. Then just generally, we would have another side. So this would be like side 1, and this would be side 2. So we've got side 1, side 2, and the hypotenuse. That's kind of how we think about our triangle. All right. So if you don't know this terminology, please take a photo, because we're going to be using these words a lot as we work through today's lesson. And then we're going to move down. Okay. Okay. Before I start this, I wanted to be clear that this is not the way it is asked in tests and for like work. This is just actually understanding why the Pythagoras theorem is the Pythagoras theorem. Okay, this is actually just understanding what it means and why we do what we do. So you don't just do it because you know you're supposed to. You have some understanding behind it. So Pythagoras had this idea, and he said, well, if we know this length of that side of the triangle, okay, and we made it a square. So if that side was C and we made it a square, so we're saying that this side over here is also C. How would I work out? So ignore everything below that. Ignore the blue square and the red square and the triangle. Just looking at this green square that I have over here. How would I work out the area of that green square if the one side is C and the other side is C? How would I work out its area? Okay, so if here, that would be working out your perimeter. So if I wanted the perimeter, I would say C plus C plus C plus C. How would I find the area of it though? Ophelia, it's close, not quite right. Tatum, excellent, good. Okay, if I wanted the area of this, the area of this green square, so that's this whole inside part of my square, it would be side times side, so it would be C times C. And I can write that as C squared. Okay, so then the same logic happens down here. So if I know this side of my triangle is A, and I make it a square, if I wanted to know the area of this square down here, my area would be A times A, which is A squared. If I wanted to know this, and this side was B, and I wanted to make it a square, so this side was also B, then this area in here would be B times B, which is B squared. Okay. Pythagoras said that he thinks that something is true. And then they did lots of tests and they found that in fact it is correct. Okay. And his thought was that if I take this area of this blue square and I add this area of my red square, it's going to equal this area of my green square. So he was saying, well, so if I take the area of my blue square, that's b squared, and I take the area of my red square, that's a squared, that's going to equal the area of my green square, which is c squared. Okay. And that is where the idea of Pythagoras came from. That's where the theorem came from. And that's why we square our sides. Because what we're actually doing is we're actually finding what the area of its square would look like if there was an imaginary square that happened off the one side of the triangle. That's where this concept came from, and that's why we square them. Okay, so Pythagoras' theorem is very simple. He says that we take our two sides of our square, two sides of our triangle, and we square them. And the sum of those squares is equal to our hypotenuse squared. Okay, so the sum of the squares of the other two sides of a triangle equal our hypotenuse squared. Zoom, as in zoom out. Does that help? Okay. So all that this is explaining at the moment, all this is explaining is where their idea of Pythagoras is coming from. Pythagoras is just coming from this idea of saying, if we look at our one side of our triangle and we square it, and we add our other side of our triangle and we square it, it's going to equal the side, our hypotenuse side, if that was also squared. That's all Pythagoras needs. Okay. And the reason we know to do that and the reason we square things is because what we are actually doing is we're actually finding the area of each of these imaginary squares on each side of our triangle. That's all that's happening. Okay. There are very quick ways of going about Pythagoras. So there's ways that you can do it in one line. There's ways that you can do it in two lines. We're going to see if we can try and figure out some quick ways to write it in today's lesson. But the base concept is that we have our two sides of our triangle. We're going to square those sides. We're going to add them together, and it's going to equal our hypotenuse squared. Okay, that's the base idea of Pythagoras. Let's try an example to see if we can sort of put this all in place now. Okay. And I'm going to show you multiple different ways of writing this so that we can get it nice and quick. Okay. All right. What we've got over here is we have a triangle. This is side 1. It can be side 2. It doesn't matter. Side 2 and hypotenuse. All right. We know from Pythagoras that our side 1 squared plus our side 2 squared equals our hypotenuse squared. So we can write it exactly like that. We can say our side 1, so 4 squared plus 3 squared, those are our two sides, is equal to our hypotenuse squared. That's our statement. And in maths, when we have a statement, we give a reason, and our reason is Pythagoras. Okay. I'm going to work through this example, and then anyone who has questions, you must pop your hands up and we can go through it. Okay. I'm going to show you the longest way, and then I'm going to show you some quick ways. So 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, that's equal to x squared. 16 plus 9 is 25, which is equal to x squared. If I want to know what x is, I'm going to have to square root both sides, and so I'm going to see that x is 5 centimeters. Okay, longest way of doing it, but perfectly fine. If you're feeling like being little brain buffs, there's a much quicker way to go about doing Pythagoras. At this point over here, at this beginning point over here, we can see that on our right-hand side, we've got x squared. And then on our left-hand side, we've got these two situations. So instead of writing everything out in 2 steps, we can actually just write it out in 1. We can stay right from the beginning, just x. Well, for the moment, let's keep it x squared, and I'll show you why. So x squared is equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared, and then we're going to have our reason. Okay. But now, if I don't want the x squared, if I just wanted it to be an x, I could actually just put all of that in a square root sign. And then I can put that into my calculator exactly like that. So I can put my square root sign and say 4 squared plus 3 squared. So exactly like that. And push equals. And you get your answer straight away. Okay. So if you're feeling comfortable with Pythagoras and you're understanding what you're doing and you want to try and stretch yourself a little bit, feel totally free to try the method that's in the cloud. But if you're just learning about Pythagoras and this is the first time you're seeing it, then I recommend you look at the pink version. Prosper, that's a difficult question for me to answer because some schools do weird things. Hypothetically, you should get 100% for that. You have done nothing wrong. You've simplified a process. You haven't missed any steps of working. So you shouldn't lose marks. But if your school is insisting you write it a specific way, potentially you could. So I would say that entirely depends on your school and your teacher. Okay. Before I move on to B, does anyone have any questions or uncertainties or anything about what you're currently seeing on the board? This is your time to ask. No, so Anna, we only do Pythagoras with triangles. Sometimes we have to bring squares in to find sides, but break your square up into triangles. Batu, how can I help?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask if they give us the hypo like and not like the other side, what do we do?
We're going to do one of those just now.
Okay, ma'am.
So don't you worry. Okay. Piwe, how can I help?
Hello, ma'am. So at school, we were taught that like instead of writing the 4 squared plus 3 squared is equal to x, we write it as x squared is equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared.
Totally fine. 100%.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
They can be written however you like, as long as the hypotenuse is on the one side, then you're fine. Good. Okay. So this one is exactly the same as what we have just done. Give it a go. Make sure you're writing your different steps and tell me what x is.
Drum roll. Let's do this, my peeps. We can do it. Keep them coming. I see them answers.
Nice job, guys. Solid work, solid work. Okay, so I'm going to write it the quick way, and then I'll write it the longer way for anyone who needs. Quick way, we're looking for our hypotenuse. Okay, so we would say x is equal to 5 squared plus 12 squared, all square rooted. And then our reason would be Pythagoras. Okay, and x would be equal to 13 centimeters. Nice and easy. Okay, if you do not feel comfortable writing it that way and you would prefer to write it the long way, there is absolutely no shame in that whatsoever. We would say x squared is equal to 12 squared plus 5 squared Pythagoras. Okay, x squared is equal to 144 plus 25. X squared is equal to 169. We would we would square root both sides. So x is going to equal 13 centimeters. Okay. Jasmine, how can I help?
Okay. I got a question regarding the long and short way, right?
Sure.
So in an exam paper, which one would carry more marks, the long way or the short way?
So if you're given a question, like if the question here was to find x, that's a set number of marks. So let's say the set number of marks in this case is 3. If they were marking it the long way, they would probably give you 1 for getting the reason and the statement, 1 for working out, and 1 for your answer. And if you wrote it the short way, you would get 1 for this statement, 1 for your reason, and 1 for your answer. So you would get the same number of marks depending on how you write it. It just depends on, so it's not about the marks, it's about which one you're more comfortable with. Okay. And also be careful, because if your teachers are very pedantic about how they want you to write it, I don't want you guys to lose marks because you're being smart. So maybe just check with them if they're okay with it. And Sumi, how can I help? Just gotta unmute on your side.
Oh, yeah. Ma'am, won't we need to like write the equation with when doing the short method?
So you don't need to write the equation when doing the short method. Writing this statement over here is everything it needs to have in it, because it's showing that you understand that it's the sum of 2 sides and they would squared and then they get square rooted. So that statement is saying enough. But this is why I'm saying if your school is like very clear about how they want you to write it out, then write it out their way, because I don't want you to lose marks because of that.
Okay.
Okay. But in matric, when it's not your school marking your paper, when it's matric markers marking your paper, then this is 100% right. Okay. All right. So now this question is like Fatu was asking. What if it's not our hypotenuse? What if it's the other side? Okay, because now this isn't my hypotenuse, that's just a side. So again, I'm going to show you 2 different ways. I'm going to show you the long way, and then I'm going to show you the short way, and then I'm going to give you one to try by yourselves. And then we'll jump into our brain break. Exactly a POE minus. Okay, so long way, we could say, well, our hypotenuse squared is equal to our one side squared plus our other side squared because of Pythagoras. So that's 100 is equal to 64 plus x squared. So 100 minus 64 is equal to x squared, which means x squared is equal to 36. And so we square root both sides, and x is equal to 6 centimeters. Yeah, I can scroll up. Take a quick screenshot. Okay. Quick way of doing this. Now, this is where we need to be careful if we're doing the quick way. Quick way here is we have to think we're not looking for our hypotenuse, we're looking for a side. Okay. Did I say Moabi?
Because we had Moabi not so long time ago.
It's okay. I want to know. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have this side. We're not looking for the hypotenuse. So what we have to do now is minus. So what we're going to say is the side that we don't know, so that's x, is going to equal the square root of our hypotenuse squared minus our other side squared. So that is what you're seeing over here. That's our hypotenuse squared minus our one side squared. Okay. It's the same idea. We're just trying to do it in one step. And then obviously at that point, we would need to write our reason. And then we can chuck that straight into our calculator, and x would be equal to 6 centimeters. So if we are looking for our hypotenuse, and we're doing it the short way, we just add our two sides. And if we're looking for a side and we're doing it the short way, we take our hypotenuse and we minus the side. And that gives us our answer. Any questions about this blue/purple question? Kulafelo, yes, how can I help?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
So, ma'am, you see there where it says 10 squared equals to 8 squared plus x squared. Can't you just say 10 squared minus 8 squared equals to x squared?
100% you can. Totally you can.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
All of these are like, so this light blue one is the longest possible way you could write it. Fatu, how can I help?
Ma'am, will this get any harder?
Not really. The concept is exactly the same. The only thing that gets harder about it is it gets put into story sums.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am.
But the concept itself stays the same. So that helps. That helps. Okay. All right. Try this one by yourselves. We're going to talk about something fancy with your answer here as well. I want this answer to 2 decimal places. But we're going to talk about some things with this question. And then after this guy, we will go on to our break. It is easy. That's what makes it so great. Pythagoras is like this beautiful, easy section. And it's so nice because it stays with you all the way till matric. And it can't get harder. It is just what it is. Keep going, guys. You'll be okay. I want to know what X is. Okay, we've got our first answers coming in. Good afternoon, Burlington. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Let's go. Let's see. So, long way. Does anyone, you don't have to say it. That's fine. Let me not put pressure on you guys. Okay. X squared plus 1 squared is equal to 7 squared. Pythagoras. Okay. If you did it the short way, what it's going to look like is you are going to have X is equal to the square root of 7 squared minus 1 squared. Okay. So X squared is equal to 49 minus 1. X squared is equal to 48. All right. Now, when you put that into your calculator, you're going to say square root of 48, and you're going to get an answer that looks like this, 4 root 3. Who can tell me what the fancy word for that is? Who can tell me what the fancy word for that is? Yes, Nika, you always have to put the reason. Yes, Kulwana, well done. Good. That is called surd form. Oh, gosh. Okay. My pen's like going all over the place. Okay. When we have a number like that and then we have a square root sign, it's called surd form. So if you have a question in a test or an exam or something, and then they say you can leave your answer in surd form, that's what it means. You can leave it in that form. You don't have to do it as a decimal. If you're wanting to make it a decimal from this point in your calculator, you just push the button that says S to D, looks like this. So it's got like an S and then like a side arrow and then a D. And what that means is that means surd to decimal. That's what that button means. Okay, so we have 4 root 3. And if we push surd to decimal, we get the answer 6,928 blah, 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 blah. Okay. I asked you to do this to 2 decimal places. And so I'm looking for that second decimal place. But the 8 is going to make my 2 go up. So it's going to be 6,93 millimeters. And that would be my final answer. Yeah, absolutely, Prosper. Okay, cool. Are we feeling good with this? A P-way, yeah.
Because I said 69, what 6,92 am I wrong?
If the question said to 2 decimal places, you would lose a mark, yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's nasty, but true. Just work on those roundings. Okay, Brian has arrived and Brian has brought you 2 treats today that are both mathematical. Now, the other class was able to solve the second one, which I thought was going to be quite tricky. They were able to solve it very, very quickly. I had them on a time limit. So I'm very curious to see if you're going to be able to beat them. We'll have a look. We'll see. Okay, first one. I want to know what that question mark is. So quick, so quick, so quick. Yes, you guys are right. You're right. You got there. Okay. All we're doing is we are just multiplying everything by 2 as we move down this little ladder. And so our answer is definitely 32. Definitely.
My
Good job. We did that so quickly.
Yeah.
Too easy. It's fine. I'll get you a harder one for Thursday. Nice job, though. Great work. You are stronger and smarter. Oh. Okay. Oh, actually, on that note, guys, if you feel that the pace in this class is too fast for you, please remember that the foundation class starts at 5 and goes from 5 till 6. And so if you're feeling like this pace is too fast and you would rather go into the class where the pace is a little bit slower, we do the same work. We just do it at a very different pace. Just send Yolanda a direct message, please. And then she'll write your name down and we can see what we can do.
Give me your name and your surname and I'll change it for you. Well,
no one else will know. Just send her a direct message. It'll just be us. Okay, cool. Next one. I want to know what the question mark is. I think some interesting answers popping in.
Oh, nice.
There we go. We got there.
And my bibs.
Nice. Our answer is indeed. Let's see. Incl, are you going to give us our answer?
The answer, ma'am, is 8.
Beautiful. Can you explain why it's 8? Have we lost you? Oh, I think we lost. Okay, it's definitely 8. So if we take our bigger number and we subtract our smaller number, so 12 minus 4 gives us 8. 16 minus 8 gives us 8. 10 minus 2 gives us 8. 9 minus 1 gives us 8. And so we would be doing the same thing. So we're just taking the one number minus the other one. Nice job, though. You guys got that quickly. Good work. Good work. And that's all. That's all the brain break I have for you for today. Now we're going to jump back into some maths. Oh, you know what I did promise you? I promised you I would show you what a brown eye zoomed in looks like from Thursday. And I did find one. Where's it gone? Where's my brown eye gone? Ooh, it's somewhere here. I'm sure of it. Where are you, brown eye? Ooh. There it is. That is what a zoomed in brown eye looks like. So on Thursday, we looked at a blue eye, and then someone told me that brown eyes look like mountains, and they are 100% right.
Wow. Is this how
Crazy,
it looks
hey?
like? Yo.
And Pee-wee, why are you saying ew? It looks so cool. Like, that's what's inside your eye.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, Fatu. I thought that this one would be fine because the hole is not so small. I thought it was like a very specific. I even looked up your whole phobia, and I was telling my sister about it. Okay. Oh, so Yondeli, you have the same whole phobia. Ooh, where are we going? Okay. I've like lost our place, guys. I'm gonna have to find it. There we go.
There we go. We are here. Be ready, guys.
I know, it's crazy that that's what your eye looks like, right? It's insane.
Mountain.
Looks like Tudu a Pee-wee. Oh my goodness. Okay. So this is the way these types of questions like to be asked in tests. Because you have to put some thinking into it. Okay. But not a huge amount of thinking, but a little bit of thinking. I'm going to give you 8 marks for this question. And I want you to read it super carefully. I'm going to read it for you, but I'm not going to put anything on the diagram. I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to explain to you where marks would be taken off if you did certain things when you talk me through this. Okay. So the question is, an ant is walking. My little ant. My ant is walking from point B to C to D to E to F. Determine the length of its route. Okay, that's the full question. 8 marks. I would like to know the length of the route of my little traveling ant.
Let's go, my people. Let's go. Let's go, my peps. Let's go. We can do this. We are nearly there, guys. You guys are doing great. Let's do this. Let's do some calculations.
When adding, should we add a square? When adding, I'm trying to think about how to answer that question without giving away the answer. My recommendation would be...
They're not talking about the the measurement unit, like the centimeter.
Squared.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the question is asking.
I think what you're asking is, yeah, maybe try and word it in a slightly different way. Is B to C 8? No, that's an ant. It was my very creative, beautiful ant, which now I feel very hurt by. It is not 8 centimeters, it's an ant. Are you asking me if it is actually 8 centimeters? Have you worked it out? Maybe I'm being insulted for no reason. No, it's not. Okay. Nico, yes, there is definitely a decimal number involved. I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute on this, and then I just want to check if these are questions or answers. And is this to answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just going to mute you again for a second. Piwe, did you have a question, or did you want to answer?
Ma'am, it was to answer, but then it's fine.
No, it's okay. What I'll do is I'll split this half-half between the two of you. Okay. 30 more seconds, guys. Try your best here. Let's see. Okay, let's try and break this up bit by bit. And can you talk me through the first part of this?
Are we doing the B to C?
You can choose whichever one you want to start with.
I'll do the B to C then, man.
Okay, so we're going to start down here. Cool. All right, tell me what you write.
I wrote BC equals, what do you call it?
Square root.
Square root 15 squared minus 9 squared.
Good.
Reason Pythagoras.
Excellent. I love it. Love everything about it. Beautiful. Next line.
And I said BC equals 12 centimeters.
Perfect. 100%. Beautiful. Piwe, talk me through the next part.
Okay, ma'am, so I did it the long way.
That's fine. I'm happy with either way. Which you're working on FE here.
Yes, ma'am. So
Okay.
I said FE squared is equal to 4 squared plus 2 squared, which is in FE. Next line, which is Pythagoras. And then next line, it's FE squared equal to 16 plus 4.
Good.
And the next line, it's FE squared is equal to 20.
Good.
And then it's FE is equals to this to the square root of 20.
Okay. What does that give you as a decimal?
4,47, but then I said 4,5.
Why?
Because he told me to round off, ma'am.
Two decimal places.
Aw.
But it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. I did not specify that before this question. I'm going to accept
He's
your
like,
5.
Okay.
I'm going to
Okay,
accept
give
your
up.
5. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, cool. So can you just finish this off for us then?
Sure, ma'am.
So what's our nth journey?
So then it's going to be 12 centimeters plus 9 centimeters plus 2 centimeters plus 4,47 centimeters.
Good. And what does that give us?
I got 27,5 because I said 4,5.
Yep. No, that's fine. That's fine. Perfect. Nice job. Well done, Piwe. Excellent. Okay, if you guys did this on your side, there's a couple of things I want you to be careful about when you're marking this. Firstly, if you have a look at your picture, X is not involved here anyway. So unless you actually wrote X on your picture and then you used X, if you've written X here instead of BC, you will not get that mark because X does not exist. There is no X on this picture. And because there is no X, we cannot talk about something that does not exist. Okay, we have to talk about the information that they've given us. So they've told us that there's BC. That's why we're using BC. All right, Give yourselves 3 marks for finding the first line. If you don't have the reason, you don't get the mark. Give yourselves 3 marks for the second line of FE, and then give yourselves 2 marks for the journey. Tell me how you did, and if you have questions about where you went wrong, let me know. Burlington, tell me how this went.
Ma'am, like on the first step, what if we do not like write the square root?
So if you did it the long way, like this yellow one, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No problem. No problem. This was quite nice because you get to see both methods. And you must do whichever one you're comfortable with. There's like they get you the same place.
I simply nailed it. Well done, guys.
Nice job, guys. Excellent. Let's try one more. Okay, so now this one, oh, sorry, I didn't give you time to take a screenshot if you wanted one. If you would like a screenshot, please take one, and then I'm going to get you the next question. Okay. This question, you have to think a little. Okay. I want to know what my answers are. When you have your answers, pop them in the chat for me. We're going to do a toll of who gets what answer. And we're going to see if we can figure out which one of them is right. So I want you all to give this a go. And remember, I never get cross if you get the wrong answer. So I just want you to try it. Okay. Do what you think you would do. If you were in a test and you got this question, do what you think you would do in that situation. And the answer to that is not to give up and not do anything. You're definitely going to try it. And then put your answer in the chat and we'll see if we can get to the right answer between all of us. Oh, I'm seeing some hands popping up. Okay, we've got our first answer coming in of 41,66. Okay, let's write these answers as they start coming in. So answer 1 that we've got is 41,66. Let's see if people agree or disagree. Oh, we've got another one, 41,66. Okay, it's got 2 votes. Very curious to see how this question goes. Oh, those are only 2 answers that have come in so far. Okay, so hold on, we've got another answer coming in here of x is equal to 41,67. Okay, I think that's the same line as that one. Yes, you can round off to 2 decimal places. We've got 6,4. I can tell you so far that no one has the right answer. If that helps. 63,5, 11,6, 62,5. None of these are right. 42, no. No. 62.5, no. 121, 72,17. I love how everyone is getting completely different answers, but none of the answers are correct.
Yeah,
so
my
great.
people are really trying.
I
Keep
love
trying,
it.
tips, and
That
you
is
guys
exactly
just
what
follow
you
the
should do.
rule.
It's all
Yeah,
about trying.
follow the rule, you'll get it right.
Okay, I'm gonna take you guys out your misery. Okay. What would my statement look like? What's my first line looking like? Oh, a P, we're not used. Okay, no, it's okay. I can give you an extra 2 more minutes. I can give you some time. If you're getting the answer of 55,9, so far it looks like Lenomta is our only winner at the moment. If you're getting the answer of 55,9, then you are correct. So at the moment, our champion is Lenomta. Lenomta, do you feel comfortable talking to the class about how you got your answer? If you do, pop your hand up for me and I'll unmute you. Okay. My little brain buff, talk me through how you got to your answer.
So, ma'am, I said x squared plus 2x squared equals 125 125 squared. And the reason is Pythagoras.
Okay, what did I have to do? So I like everything that you've said so far. What do I have to do with that 2x squared that I'm squaring?
I don't know.
So what was okay, tell me what your next line was, and then I'll come back to it.
Okay, ma'am. I said x squared plus 4x squared equals 125 squared.
Okay, so that's beautiful. Now just be careful. This is only going to equal 4x squared if that was in brackets.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so those brackets are super important. Everything you did was really, it's beautiful. You thought about it. I know you knew what you were doing. Just don't forget those brackets later on.
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Beautiful. Tell me my next line.
Ma'am, 5x squared equals 15,625.
Beautiful. Okay, next line.
X squared equals 3,125.
Yes.
Therefore, x equals 55,9.
Beautiful. Nice job. Excellent, excellent work. Well done.
Thank you, ma'am.
This is a really tough question, guys. So if you even got close, that's awesome. The place that they would have put, so this question would have been given in your test purely to try and trick you. And the place that most people would have gone wrong is over here and wouldn't have put that in brackets. And so it would have just had 2x squared. And so then this over here, instead of 5x squared, that would have been 3x squared. And so then things would have gotten obviously messy. You would have gotten continued accuracy marks down here. So you wouldn't have gotten 0 out of everything. You would have definitely gotten continued accuracy marks. But just be careful that when we have a side like this and we need to square it, just make sure you put it in brackets, because that square then goes onto our 2 and it goes onto our x. Okay, so the reason it's 4x squared is because what we're saying is we're saying this whole side is squared, right? So that means 2x times 2x, because that's what squared means, okay? And so we could write that as 2x squared, like that. And 2x squared, 2 squared is 4, x squared is x squared. That's where the 4 came from. So now if you just, for marking purposes, if you wrote it as 2x squared and not 4x squared over here, but then you wrote 3x squared, let's just see what your answer would have been. So 15625 divided by 3. Okay, hold on, let me just do it like this. 15625 divided by 3 square rooted. So if you got the answer of 72,17 or 72,2, then you would have gotten all of these extra marks down here. Because that just means you just made a mistake up here. Okay. Nice job, guys. You did really well today. We're going to